Alrighty guys, I'm Casey and welcome to a brand new episode of some Stone Block. I think I've got my music down. There we go, it's better. Now we can actually hear something. Guys, we did quite a bit in the last episode. We set up this hallway here. These apple trees have still not grown. They're being a pain in the rear end. We also set up this sort of section right here. We've got our sieving over here. We are going to continue expanding the base in this direction. But, and of course, this direction is going to be the Tinker Smeltery. And that brings me to what I want to do today. There's a couple of things that I want to do today. The first thing is I want to upgrade these sieves and get a little bit further with these sieves. And the next major thing is I want to set up a smeltery building over here so that we can get into some tools, into some Tinker's tools. And all will look really, really good. Why does it like... I think there's a skeleton has spawned behind here. I don't believe that's the case, but... my first task is to get to doing some sieving. So I'm going to get some cobblestone. I'm going to break some down. I'm going to try and sieve 9 stacks of gravel. So, if you're looking forward to that, guys, do me a favor before we get into this episode. Leave it a like and hit subscribe. And ring that bell so you know every single time that I upload a brand new video. But without any further ado, let's get into the episode. Now, a nice little trick that I actually want to show off right near the beginning here is something that's going to make our life significantly easier. We can make something called compressed cobblestone, right? And what this basically is it's 9 stacks of cobblestone compressed down to just 1 stack. Now this is super easy because we can actually use a hammer on this to break it down as if we were breaking down 9 stacks. Now, the trouble is we can't use a regular hammer, as you can see. So this is just going to take way too long. But what we can do is we can craft something called a compressed hammer. And you craft this basically like you do a regular hammer. You just use 9 instead. So if we go ahead, we can just do this. It'll be easier. Look, like this. Boom. And then all we're going to do is take this compressed hammer, hit it, and boom. There's our 9 gravel from just 1. And you can do this with vein miner as well. So now I've got a bunch of it together. Just hold the vein miner key. Mine away, and boom. There we are. I've got myself now 9 stacks of gravel from just having to mine just 1 stack of cobblestone. It's super, super cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now I'm going to go ahead and sieve these and see what we get. Sieving has been completed. We've got a fair amount of resources now. Enough that I think I can upgrade all of these meshes to the flint equivalent. Now, to do that, I'm actually going to craft new meshes. If we look at the flint mesh real quick, just delete the compress. Flint mesh. Here we are. You can see we need 6 flint and 1 string mesh. So now that I've gone and grabbed myself 9 of these, we can see if we do indeed have enough. I think we'll have enough. Now, you may be tempted to just use your old meshes, but I would strongly advise against it. The reason being is that different meshes spawn different items. So there might be some things that we need a string mesh for. And for that, it would just be nice to have these. We'll keep these in this one right here. But now that we've got the flint mesh, we can actually go ahead and sieve a little bit more. And we'll probably get more stuff. Does it actually show us here? Yeah, there we are. Look, you can see the string mesh with gravel does this. However, the flint mesh with gravel does a little bit more. We have a higher chance of getting certain things, and I definitely want the iron because I do want to get these up to iron. So the thing what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an entire stack, well, 9 stacks of gravel, 9 stacks of sand, and 9 stacks of dust. So if you remember the little trick I taught you with the compressed gravel, you can actually use it to go all the way to compressed sand or compressed dust. So what you do is you take your cobblestone, you pound away at it. 1 cobblestone makes you your 9 gravel. You put your 9 gravel in the crafting table. Get yourself your lovely compressed gravel. Pop this down, hammer away. This goes to dirt. You can compress the dirt down as well. Now, it works better and faster, obviously, if you do multiple at a time. But I just wanted to kind of show you here that you can go through all of the stages using the compressed stuff. So, compressed sand, hammer this down. And we get to compressed dust, which is fan-diddly-tastic. We just pop this away for now. So, I've got compressed gravel, 9 stacks of gravel, 9 stacks of dust, 9 stacks of sand. It's time to sieve these and see what goodies we get. This is the result of our sieving. Now, I did change my mind partway through the sieving. I decided not to sieve the dust. And the reason is, if we look at the flint mesh, then we can see dust-wise, is this the flint stiffened mesh? Thank you. We can see that dust-wise, we can get gold, silver, nickel, bone meal, gunpowder, and crushed black quartz. What we can't get is redstone. For redstone, which is the main reason we want to sieve dust, we actually need the iron stiffened mesh, which requires smelting down some iron. And we've got a fair amount of iron. We do have quite a bit of iron. But I think rather than smelting down the iron, what I'd like to do, to be honest with you, is to start on the Tinker's Smeltery and use that to smelt down the iron so that we can get double. Now, the Tinker's Smeltery is a little bit more convoluted in this one because we do have to go down some paths to be able to get to what we finally want. If you look here, obviously the first one is to make the tool forge and then to make the smeltery. Now, the tool forge requires us to actually have some some iron to do it. But if we pay attention to these arrows, you can see the arrows are pointing into it, which means we need this one first. We go back, we need this one. We need this one, and we need this one. So we need to look at this oak crucible and how this oak crucible works. Now, to craft the oak crucible, and to be honest, you can use pretty much any crucible if you like. Any one of these will work the exact same way. It's just a case of personal preference. So all we need to do is we need to craft one like so. Now, I think we only needed to craft one for the book. Yes, we did. Now we need to make some clay. And making clay is kind of interesting. So first of all, you pop this down and you can make water from this thing. Now, I'm going to grab this dust that we made earlier. And to make water in this thing, all you need to do is grab some oak saplings, pop them in like so, and it will slowly convert these into water. Now, this is a little bit painfully slow. It does take a little bit of time to do this. And obviously, we need a lot of clay. But there are other ways that we can get clay. Yeah, words. There are other ways that we can put this dust into this barrel. Because if we go back to this, look. It wants us to make clay. To make clay, we need to right-click this dust into this barrel. But there are other ways that we can make clay. But the first thing that we need to be able to do this is an infinite water source. So, I will craft up one more of these. And we'll pop these down like so. And we'll just fill this up like so. And let these convert. Once these both convert down into water, we'll have two pieces of water. And we can create an infinite water source from it. But for this, we are going to need a bucket, which means we do need to smelt up a little bit of iron. Now, smelting iron isn't as simple as just putting these iron ore pieces in a furnace. What we actually need to do is we need to use four of these to craft this iron ore chunk. And this can be smelted down into an iron ingot. Now, if you put this in the Tinker Smeltery, it will double it. So you put one in, you get 2 iron ingots. But if you use a regular smeltery like this, then unfortunately you do only get one ingot per ore. Now, I have gone ahead and just broken down some charcoal here. Some coal rather, just to give us some fuel. And we'll let that do. I think we'll take that out. We'll let those smelt down. I'm going to do 16 because I do want some iron just to play around with. I think 16 will be fine. And these are almost done. Look at that. The water is done. I love it. And our iron should be ready. So we go ahead and just craft up an iron bucket as you normally would. And then we're going to make an infinite water source. We could do this by just putting 2 buckets of water. No, definitely not there. Either side, making this middle one infinite. Now, yes, guys. Yes. There is another way to make an infinite water source. You can make it as a square, a 2x2 square, so you can take water out from any part. But a long time ago, I made this series on Project Ozone, and I did a water source like this just for convenience sake. And someone in the comments said, "What kind of savage makes a water source like that?" So ever since then, I have committed to making my infinite water sources as savage as possible. That being said, we were making clay, and we could take this water from the middle, put it in here, grab our dust, right-click our dust into these, and boom, that's that done. All is good. We've now got clay. I'm so glad that we could break it down like that. That's fantastic. But I actually wanted to show you another way to make clay. It's very, very similar, but I just prefer this way. And that is using barrels, which I believe the recipe for a barrel is this. Now, if you've ever played Sky Factory, then you'll be familiar with this. This works in the exact same way. All we need to do is take this bucket, put some water in it, put a dust in it, and we get clay. But I like these over these. One, they're not as big. They don't take up as much space. Two, you can sort of see through them at the side. So it's really cool if you have like a wall behind them. It looks really, really nice. And they're cheaper. They are cheaper to make. So we now need to make up some clay, because the next thing in the book is called a crucible. It's this thing. It's a different crucible. And what does this crucible entail? What does this crucible do? This allows us to make lava. But for this, we need a couple of things that I don't currently have. Well, let's look it up together. Crucible. If we look, we need the unfired one first, which requires this porcelain clay, which means we need some bone meal to be able to get it. Now, for this, and the bone meal, we need to sieve dirt. Sorry, not dirt. We need to sieve dust and a clay ball. We only need 8 of these, so I am happy to just power through some dust now. And what I might do, now we've got this, is I might make up 1 iron mesh and just power through a stack like that. I think we can still get dust bone meal from an iron mesh. Our survey says, yes, you can. It's a 20% chance of a drop rate. What is it in a flint mesh? What was it in a flint? A 15% chance. So we get a 5 plus 5. Now, I believe that I've already made up the flint stiffened mesh, but I do believe this is made the exact same way we made the flint one. Just instead of flint, we use iron. Brilliant. And this works just the exact same as any of the other meshes do. You just hold right click with whatever resource you want to sieve through it. Now, I will say that we are only going to be using 1 iron mesh, because I don't want to spend all of my iron when I can duplicate it later to do this. But because this is an iron mesh, it won't catch on to the rest that aren't an iron mesh. So you can put different meshes in different groups right next to each other if you want. But I'm going to go through this and see just how much bone meal we need. We need at least 7 pieces. Now, with a fair bit of bone meal, we can actually go ahead and combine these and get ourselves this porcelain clay. And then we can use this porcelain clay to craft up this unfired crucible. Throw this into our little auto furnace right here. Get that fired up. And what does a crucible allow us to do, you may be asking? If you've never played Sky Factory, or you've never played any sort of so like Stoneblock, Skyblock, anything like this with X and Elo in it, you may not actually know what this crucible does, but it actually allows us to do quite a few things. But the main thing that it allows us to do is create lava. So we take this and we pop this down. We'll just pop this down right here for now. You don't want to put it on the floor. You want to put it at least 1 block up. And what you want to do is take some cobblestone and right-click cobblestone into it. And what it's going to do is it's going to turn the cobblestone into lava. But as you can see now, solid cobblestone at the top middle there, 1,000. Liquid, 0. That is because this thing requires a source of heat. Now, you can use pretty much anything for heat that gives off heat in a pack. Usually, anything will work. You can use blaze blocks from blaze rods. Some packs have them. You can use a flint and steel, light the block underneath it. You can use a torch. And different things have different rates. As you can see, this is a rate of 1 times. So the flint and steel, I think, is a 3 times. But there are other things in the pack that allow this to go insanely high. But for right now, we're just going to let this cobblestone melt down and create ourselves the lava that we want. Now, while we wait for this to do, there is something else that I want to work on. I want to work on automating the production of clay. And how do we do that? Well, it's not actually all that hard. The first thing that we need to do is we need a way to get infinite water source over there. And I like to use something called a sink. It's this thing right here. It requires 3 iron, a bucket of water, and some terracotta. The terracotta is probably the only bit that we haven't covered. Although if you have been in Minecraft for any length of time, you probably know how to get terracotta. But I am going to cover it right here. All we need is clay. You take the clay, you put it in a furnace, and you smelt that down. Now, I am going to need a couple of other resources that we don't currently have. That being lead and copper. And these are made up the same way we did iron. You just put them in that square. You get these from Sieving, which we already did. So I want to smelt 2 lead and 4 copper for a little bit later on. But I thought I'd show you now that I'm smelting them up here. I'm going to get myself all of the resources for this. The iron, we should have. The water bucket we've easily got. And the terracotta, I'm just waiting for that to smelt up. So, It's time to set up this. Now, I do have an apology to make, guys. I did want to get the Tinker Smeltery in this, but I don't think we're going to be able to. I've just looked at the time of this video. I'm already at 14 minutes into the video. Jeez, man, time is flying. Time is flying. Anyway, let's get to making up this right here. There's two things that I want to make in this. First one is this sink. We're going to make this sink up. And what this is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to get water from it. Oh, that gives us back our bucket. So if we put this down, we can just like right click and get a bucket of water out of it. It's an infinite water source. We need a pickaxe to mine it though. Please tell me that I have a pickaxe readily available. I do. It looks like it's only got one use left on it, but that's fine. That's fine. There we go. Yeah, I did have just one use on it. But anyway, so how do we set this up? Well, if we just head on over here, you can see this is where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it in this corridor right here. And we've got a scallybob here wanting to have a little bit of fun. I should have probably lit this up a little bit better than what I have done. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm just going to pop this here right now. So we're going to put the sink in right here. Now, I've set up this right here and these right here. And what we need to do is I need to grab some dust from over here real quickly to show you guys how this is going to work. So, we're going to have an input and an output chest. That's not exactly what I wanted to do, game. That's what I wanted to do. Please work. And what we're going to do is we're going to have dust in these two top ones right here. And clay will end up in these two bottom ones right here. So there's a couple of things that we need to do. The first thing we need to do is we need to extract water from this and put it into the barrels. And to do that, we're going to use something called Fluidox. And I'll show you what these are in just a brief second here. And they're called Fluidox, which are, if I've spelled it right, Fluidox. These things right here, they require some copper and some lead, which I've already got. I think we're going to need 2 sets of these, which is great. And I do have my axe, which is even greater. And what we're going to do is we want to extract fluid from this sink right here. We want to put it into these. We're going to put it into just the back. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run this to it like so, this pipe. And there we go. Now, as you can see, this is not filling these up because we haven't told it to extract, and we can't just simply go like, oh, you know what? I wanna extract from here. That's simple and whatnot. No, you actually need to be you need to craft something else up. It's a little bit of a nuisance, but we've got everything that we need, and it's called a servo. So if we just look, we're gonna type in servo right here. And we're just going to go with this regular servo, which is like this. Cool. We'll craft up a few of these. I think I need 11 is what I totaled it at. But I could be wrong on that one. I may have done this a little bit wrong. But we only need 1 for this step. And all we need to do is we need to go up here. We need to put this on the back right here. And then with an empty hand, we can shift and right click it. And it gives us a host of options. We're going to set this to ignore. This is redstone control. We don't want it to be controlled by any sort of redstone. We just want this to fill up as long as it's on. It's going to extract here. We don't need to tell it to insert. It will auto insert. As you can see, it has filled up these. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to get the items, this dust out of here and into the barrels. And to do that, we need something called an item duct. A fluid duct does fluids. An item duct does items. So we just type in item duct. And you may get confused. We just want this regular one here. It will usually put you on this if you go on the wrong one. You can usually find it from just clicking on it. This is lead and tin, and we're going to need, I think I clocked this at 12 of these, if I remember correctly. And these work very similar to the fluid duct. So all we're going to do is we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that'll put the dust in there. But just like with the fluid duct, we need to tell it to extract. So we need our servo again. Servos work universally in this mod, so you could use them on any of the pipes pretty much. And you don't need a different one for fluid and item like you do duct. And we just click ignore. And what that's going to do is it's going to auto put dust in there. It takes a little bit of time because these are the early pipes in the game. The later pipes are a lot better. So we should see this start to put some dust in there. You can see we've got dust in there now. And that means that we've got clay in it. So the last thing that we need to do is craft up a pickaxe. Now with the pickaxe in hand, I've dug out this little trench. It's going to allow me to get under here. The next thing we need to do is tell it to extract. So we're just going to pop these down here. I don't need to do the sink because we don't need to extract from the sink anymore. We're already doing that. So what I need to do is I need to come down here. I need to right click on all of these barrels because we need to extract items from them. And we need to tell them to do it. And we do this the exact same way that we've done it before. We just come in here, We told this to ignore. We told this to ignore. You can play around with these servos to do a bunch of different things. So you can have a redstone lever that you pull. You can also blacklist and whitelist. Doing this means if you put something in here, it will blacklist that, meaning it will not allow oak wood planks to travel through the system. Or you can whitelist it, which means it will only allow oak wood planks to travel through the system. And of course, you can put whatever item you want in there. You can decrease the stack size here, so it only moves 1 at a time. This can move a maximum of 8 at a time. But we're only moving 1 at this point. And so when we click ignore here, what we'll find is that these bottom barrels here start filling up with clay. We can probably see it a little bit over here. There you go, our clay. And this is now going to just automatically do that. All we need to do is put dust in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just grab some dust and put a bunch of dust in here and get this thing rolling. Because I want to decorate this side here. And I've got a really cool idea for how it's going to look. Now, when it comes to this next bit, I do want to get into a bit of a mod called Chisel, which is, if I remember rightly, made like this. And what this allows us to do is just create a bunch of different sort of blocks from cobblestone, which is great to have. And I'm thinking that I probably want to go with a bit of a, maybe the zag is something that I want to do. But I just wanted to show this chisel off. I'm going to get back to work on doing that corridor, and then let's see how it looks when I'm done. So guys, I've got the hallway done on the side where the clay generator is. I want to do something else on the other side, but I don't have time in this episode to do it. But we are going to put an automatic lava farm over here, I think. I'm going to try and squeeze it in if I can. But we won't be able to do it this episode because, unfortunately, I am out of time. But this is the hallway design that I've gone for. I want it to feel like we're coming in from the sort of basic age and going into the industrial age as we sort of progress further this way in the base. If you remember, back in episode 1, I think it was, or episode 2, I said that I wanted the base to feel as if we're progressing through the ages as you walk through it. So this part of the base is very, very sort of old and worn down and made of the resources that we had, which was oak and cobble. But now we're starting to get more into the next area, which is where we're going to start getting more sand, more clay. And I wanted to use those in the building palette because that's obviously what we're getting at. So this is what's going to be more in the industrial edge. We are going to build this room in this style where the smeltery is going to go. Although I'm not going to focus on that too much in this episode because, like I said, I am out of time. I'm glad we got this auto clay thing set up in this episode, though, because this is going to save me a bunch of time later on. Oh, man. I love this pack. I love this pack. I do need to clean up this area right here. But I don't know if we're going to need any of this stuff right now. Oh, one more thing. By the way, when this is full and you've got 1,000 lava in there, that's 1 bucket. You can actually add some more in it. You can add more. Each cobblestone takes 250 up, and it can go up to 1,000 at the top. So as long as we keep that number below 750, we can always add 1 more cobblestone. The bottom number goes up to 4,000, so you can only store 4 buckets of lava in here at one time. But like I said, we'll set up some sort of auto lava farm in the next episode. But guys, for me, that is going to do it for this episode. If you've enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave it a like and hit subscribe. And that is going to do it, guys. So, we've already done the outro. I'm doing it again. Let's not do it. I'm KC, you're the awesome folks. Thanks so much for watching. Take care now, guys. Bye-bye.